Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at 3 super simple macros that will elevate your gameplay in World of Warcraft. These are very easy to set up, they're helpful for players of all levels of skill, and they will just assist you with improving how you cast a lot of your abilities. So let's begin. Firstly, let's briefly touch on what are macros, because I think a lot of players may have heard of them, or maybe don't understand them, or don't know what they are. Macros are essentially commands. So macros are ways to tell the game to do certain things. For example, you can have a macro that will make your character say something when they cast a certain spell. You can create macros that basically can occur simultaneously. You can make macros that can assist you with certain tasks. Macros do have limitations. So macros cannot use tools outside of the game engine. Macros can only trigger once on a global cooldown. So you can't make a macro that essentially will trigger 2 global cooldown spells at the same time. And macros cannot do complex tasks. So for example, I can't make a macro that says heal the player with the lowest health in the party. So making macros is pretty easy. Press escape on your keyboard and you'll see a giant button called macros under support. Click that and immediately you will have access to making your first macros. You can make character specific and general. Most times you can set up your general ones to then just have a template whereby you can copy across to your character specific. I highly suggest you keep character specific ones, as this just enables you to have less cluttered screen. Making a macro is pretty simple. Press new. You can name your macro. So for example, I can name this macro say cast. I can give this macro an icon, for example. So I'll just give it this one. And then basically I can click OK and I can enter the macros command below. So just for example, for this one, I can make this one say rar, and then I can have it cast. For example, we'll have it cast dark command. So once I've got it set up, I can click save. I can drag it to my taskbar. I can use it, and then boom, I've now emoted and also casted my taunt. Pretty fun. You can then obviously change your macro icon, and now whenever I taunt anyone in the game, I will say rar. So it's cool, and obviously macros are a ton of fun. But there are 3 macros I find that are very, very useful, and I'll do one bonus one, but we'll focus on these 3. So the 3 macros I want to focus on all have to do with different types of spells. The first macro that we'll focus on is basically the cast cursor macro. This is especially good for spells like Death and Decay, which traditionally have a circular AoE. What this macro will do is, instead of us having to click our ability or press our button and then obviously press our ability, we will instead basically be able to auto cast it wherever our mouse is. So a great example of this is I have it on my bar here, cast cursor at number 4. My mouse is all the way over here. I press it and boom, it automatically casts my Death and Decay. Setting up this macro is very easy. What you have to do is type cast in your square brackets, put @cursor, and then the spell name. So it's important that you obviously know the spell name. The spell name does have to be font correct, unfortunately, at least as far as I know. But it's very simple. Literally cast @cursor Death and Decay. A fantastic one that's super useful for placing any form of AoE, circular, ranged spell. Now, instead of having to actually click my spells 18 times, I can lay down the 2 Death and Decays within seconds of each other, which is really, really good. The next one we will focus on is Mouseover. This one is more important for your healers, as Mouseover enables you to cast your spell on the character you just have your mouse hovering over. So I don't have to click the character and target them. For this example, I will target this Raider's dummy, but I will cast my spell on this one. This is great if you're focusing a tank, for example, or you have your reticle on a boss, but you see a player low on health and you really want to heal them. Or even as a tank or any player, if you just want to target someone different while you're focusing or you're targeting someone else, it's great. So as you can see, I have my Death's Caress, which for me is a ranged attack. And even though I'm targeting this Raider's dummy, I'm going to hover over here, press 5, and boom, I've casted my spell over there. This one is also very simple to set up. You can see it here, cast Mouseover. Again, /cast in square brackets at Mouseover, and then spell's name without brackets. Very, very simple, super duper useful. Again, I highly suggest, especially as a healer, that you use this. It's a great, easy way to set yourself up to have a good time. So again, cast at Mouseover, Death's Caress. And with that, you can target pretty much any character with your Mouseover ability. I replace all of my spells like this. Very, very, very much so with this. It helps a ton. And then the last one that we have, before I talk about the bonus one, the last one we have is Cast Focus. So what is this one? This one is very, very good if I wish to essentially, I want to say, stun certain enemies. It's great for interrupts. So let's say I'm fighting 2 enemies here. One is the boss, and so I set him as my focus, or he's my interrupt target per se. I then go and I am fighting this enemy over here, but I can see that this one is casting a spell. This is obviously a problem for me, so I have cast Focus and I use it. See, oh, mine has to be in front of me. There you go. So I just turn around and boom, without needing to click on him or mouse over him. Unfortunately, my interrupt requires me to stand in front of him, which is a thing. But without doing any of that, I essentially have the ability to cast a spell on him. So it's really, really good. Again, as you can see, I'm targeting this dummy, turn around, boom, and then back to fighting. So it's very simple. It works great, especially with ranged classes that have abilities that are super useful. This one is also, again, super simple to set up. At Cast Focus, you literally just have to say /cast in the square brackets at focus, and then your spell. It's, like I said, great for interrupts. It is something that just helps you a ton if you need to specifically focus on 2 targets at once. Another one that's great for healers, because you can set tank as your focus. You can have a whole bunch of spells set at task focus so that you can cast on your tank whenever you want. Meanwhile, you're mouse overing, you're hovering, you're targeting everyone else in the party. So it's another one that's great for healers and really just allows you to have a good time. The last one is a little bit of a bonus one. It's very specific, but it is super helpful, especially for classes that have defensive abilities that prevent them from doing certain things. Maybe it's something like Feign Death, maybe it's something like Ice Block. It can also just be PvP related, it's sometimes also great. But basically, this one is Cast Cancel. So what this will do is it will cast the spell, and then if you press it again, it'll cancel the spell. So for example, with Ice Block, you activate Ice Block, and then if I press that same button again, it will deactivate it. It will only be able to do so if the spell generates an aura, and if that aura would be able to be cancelled by the same execution of that spell again. So like, for example, Arcane Intellect, this situation won't work, and I'll show you that now. So let's just show you how it works. So I've got it bound to number 6, and I press it, and I'm in Ice Block, and then I can press it again and early cancel Ice Block. This is great because it just prevents you having to right click or find another way to cancel. If I take Cancel Cast and I try to use it with Arcane Intellect, which refreshes my cast, it won't do anything. So if we see here, Arcane Intellect, and we go here, Arcane Intellect, whoops, and it's a cast, Arcane Intellect. Okay, so we go save, perfect. Right, now you'll see if I press it, it will refresh my Arcane Intellect. Press it again, it will refresh my Arcane Intellect. So if the spell would not deactivate the spell again, it does not work. But yeah. Finally, if you're struggling with macros in general, or maybe want to do some more advanced things, if you go to options and you go to your controls, you can click on key bindings and click casting. This here will let you enable Mouseover cast. It will let you work on your macros, and in general it is just a nice way to be able to do some of the setup. So it's just a great, slightly more interactive way to be able to do some of the setup. Personally, I'm not like a huge fan of it, but basically it is something that can help you if you are looking to do more advanced or set up multiple at the same time. So yeah. So that is that. I hope this has helped you guys out in terms of playing World of Warcraft. I hope this helps to elevate your playstyle. If you need any more help, let me know, or I can do an entire video on setting up more advanced macros. But I think these 3 simple ones are always great and always helpful. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye.